Hi everybody, welcome, thank you so much for joining us. Bienvenidos a todos, estamos muy agradecidos estar contigo. So we're here at Bowie Middle School. My name is Paul Fultz. For those of you that haven't seen our videos and our tour and whatnot, I'm the principal, and I have most of my leadership team here with me today, and we'll introduce those folks. If you haven't had the chance, we posted a little while ago, about half an hour or so ago, our PowerPoint where we go through different parts of the program, a tour of the school, so some of the most interesting installations and things, as well as an introduction. So that will be available to all of you forever, I suppose, as long as it's on Facebook. If you didn't get the chance to see it, you can go back after this and see that. But
it's on YouTube also.
It's also on YouTube. I'm being told by our tech guru here, Mr. Lee. So let me just really quickly introduce everybody around the room. And if they're going to stand here and smile and wave, and then if there's a question that they can answer, I'm going to force them to answer it. So first we have our counselors. We have Miss Roy and Miss Dickerson. So those of you who have questions about middle school or going through the process of registering and getting classes and whatnot, we'll be dealing with these folks. And I believe, Miss Roy, you're going to be visiting the campuses to. I think that's already started, but she'll be visiting campuses to.
Starting this week.
Great. Okay. I also have dean of students and 2 of my 3 assistant principals. So this is Miss Rowe. Some of you may recognize Miss Rowe as a former elementary AP. We're super happy to have her. This is Brandon Bass. He's our dean of students. This is Mary Gorman. She's our other assistant principal. We have one more, Dr. Jeannie Eaton, who is at the district. She couldn't be with us tonight. So typically how this works is we have everybody together and we give a spiel and we break up into groups and take a tour. And as you well know, COVID prevents all of that from happening. So we did our best. We are here live now to answer any questions that you might have about middle school in general or Bowie specifically. If you have a question that pertains only to your student, we'll give you the way to get that question answered. But if you have any questions about the transition or the differences, I tried in my short presentation to provide some of those examples. There are lots of similarities and there are lots of differences, obviously, between elementary and middle school. And some of the things that you're going to do differently, we actually want you to do the same as you did in elementary, right? We want your involvement and your engagement. We want you, calling and coming and asking questions. We want you to help your kids with their homework, or if you find maybe support where you can't help them, at least make sure that it's getting done and those sorts of things. And that is just traditionally something that sort of falls off in middle school. And I know it's something that we all really would appreciate having, right? Mr. Lee, I can just stand here and talk. So do we have any questions yet?
Not yet.
Oh, we don't have any questions. Oh my gosh. This may be the shortest open house we've ever had. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
We do have 22 people watching.
well, that's great. Well, for those of you that are here, we're
23.
super grateful for you to be here. And again, we do want to encourage you to go back and watch those videos. I don't know, as counselors, is there anything really urgent that needs to happen? Do we know when they can start registering yet?
Okay, we do have some questions coming in. How long do the kids have to switch between classes?
4 minutes.
Oh, that's a great question. 4 minutes.
4 minutes.
And I can promise you have my word, I'm a big guy, I'm an adult, a little bit slow. I mean, some of these folks are faster. I can grab my stuff, go to the restroom, and be anywhere in this building or on this campus in 4 minutes. So,
What time will the school day start?
it's a great question. The school day, the start of the school day is a regular middle school start, so it starts at 8:30. We obviously open up the building earlier than that so kids can come in and get breakfast, because we provide breakfast, lunch, and a super snack. So one of the differences in time is that while other middle schools let out at 4:15, we actually have Monday through Thursday an additional hour. So we go till 5:15, and we've adjusted the bus routes and all of those sorts of things, which is why we provide that super snack. And 2 days a week, that extra hour is with tutoring. for all of our students. And then 2 days a week, that extra hours in enrichment classes. And we have, I don't know, 25 or 30 different things ranging from guitar to wreath making. Honestly, it's a big group. That was the one I think that surprised me the most this year. Middle schoolers do enjoy making wreaths.
This looks like it comes from a student.
Great.
Why did they change the dress code? Because in grade 6, we had the choice to wear different colors.
So this is a student that's a 7th grader?
Looks like either 7th or 8th.
Well, part of our RISE program obviously is revamping the campus, and so that's why one of the things that we changed was the uniform. We're still a standard uniform campus, except we have targeted colors. And of course, you all know, or those of you that are joining us will know, we also have a uniform enhancements. So we provide all of our students with a vest, a fleece vest that has the school's logo on it, as well as a fleece jacket. So they always have that option to wear things. And that's because, as a district, we don't allow outside coats in the building, right? Sweatshirts and those sorts of things. So because obviously we know it gets a little bit cold, even if it's 90 degrees outside. So we went ahead and bought everybody vests and jackets. And that's a unique thing only to our school. There are no other schools that provide that. So that's just one more special thing about us. Other question? While you're looking up the question,
do you want me to talk about next week a little
yeah,
bit?
yeah. Why don't you do
Got
that?
one. Will they have any extra activities for 6th graders, like sports or anything after school?
Let's do this one first, and then we'll answer that question. Absolutely.
So this coming week, middle school counselors are going to be going to every single elementary campus to do what we call educational planning. Each 5th grader, or if you're a 6th grader at Cameron or Austin, will be visited by a middle school counselor, and they will have the opportunity to fill out their respective campus course card. So even if you have, like me, a buoy counselor coming to you, and I'm talking to kids that might go to Crockett, we're still going to fill out their Crockett course card, but they're going to get information about middle school and stuff like that from me. And then those students will then have like a receipt and an extra copy of their course card that they're going to take home to their parents to look over. So the parents do have a say in the classes that their students are choosing. So have conversations with your 5th graders that are coming up to us next year about those course cards to make sure that you see them and that they come home. For the most part, the only time that you need to return that is if there's going to be a change or a correction to the courses that you selected. But other than that, it's really just as a receipt of like what courses that the child chose for that next school year in case there's any problems or if the schedule comes out and it's not the way that they wanted. We kind of have a base of somewhere to start. So every 5th grader in the district will be seen by a middle school counselor this week. So be talking to the students about those course cards.
That's great. So the last question we had was, do 6th graders have any extra curricular activities or after-school curricular activities? And I think what they're probably getting at first is, can 6th graders play sports? Unfortunately, that's not an option, and that's not something we decide, or even ECISD decides. That's a University Interscholastic League, UIL. That's the sports organization that runs sports in middle school and high school in the state of Texas. You have to be a 7th grader in order to participate in UIL sports. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't have activities for 6th grade students. On the one hand, we have pre-athletics, which can take the place of PE. And so that gives students that are sure they're going to do sports in grade 7 the opportunity to unofficially participate in some of those activities, practices, and things like that. They're not allowed to compete, obviously, but they're able to do some of those skill-building activities and whatnot. Second, all of our students, 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, at least 2 days a week, have enrichment courses, and they choose those. And like I said earlier, it ranges from, we have guitar, we have movie makeup, we have cooking,
For the athletics.
the athletics.
We have golf, tennis.
Yeah. Well, for the 6th graders moving to 7th grade, coming to 7th grade, they would be able to participate in any of our athletics, and we've got a number of them. But we've got student council, we've got National Junior Honor Society, we have the play, we've got, there's Miss Rowe, what are a couple of the other ones? We have so many activities, I don't even remember.
We've had recreational sports.
Okay.
And now that we have our football field installed, I mean, we could be looking at flag football.
Sure.
You know, we could do basketball. It just kind of depends on what sports are going on with UIL at that time. But our teachers offer just a variety. We do have a golf class this 6 weeks, so it just kind of depends. But we do offer different types of sport activities during that enrichment day, those enrichment days.
Yeah.
Well, dovetailing into this, they want to know why were enrichment and tutoring added.
Why were enrichment and tutoring added? So when we started anew last year under the RISE program with the district, that program comes with lots of extra benefits, but also some additional responsibilities. And so because of where we want to go, and because of where we know our students in ECISD are, the extra enrichment and tutoring were added. This year, and we did it before we knew, but this year it's actually been great because all of our students already knew they were having tutoring. So when House Bill 4545 came out, and everyone else in the state of Texas had to scramble to figure out when they were going to do tutoring, we just said, great, we've got it organized. So that is something that is just part of our school and part of our ethos. And so just know, parents and students, that if your child comes to Bowie, the day is going to be a little bit longer. And that's okay. I mean, like I say, we've got lots of fun things for them to do, and we won't send them home hungry. We'll make sure that they get a snack. They have it every day, and you know it's sort of a light dinner. We know they're middle schoolers and they're always hungry, so we could probably feed them 5 times a day and they would still come home hungry. But at least we're going to get them 3 meals a day. Yeah.
Can 6th graders only wear gray shirts, or will they be able to wear Bowie t-shirts like in the past?
So no, we don't currently have spirit shirts. This is a good question. People with long memories, obviously. So our colors are rotating, right? And parents, that's a decision that, for example, this year's 6th graders, they wear purple. Well, next year's 7th graders, they will wear purple as well. And that decision is twofold. You know, the most important being that it means you don't have to go out and buy more uniforms. If your kid grows slow, right? They don't eat a whole lot, and they don't get huge, you'll be able to use those a lot longer. So year after year, they will rotate. So this year's 8th graders are wearing gray, which means next year's 6th graders will be wearing gray. All of our 6th grade students will be wearing a gray polo. They can wear navy blue shorts, pants, or skirt, their choice, and then black tennis shoes. And again, as I said, we've got the jackets and the vests. Now, I will tell you this: we're this year we've developed houses. We've got a house system that's based on West Texas universities, and the students and the staff have put together designs for house crests, and those are in the process of being turned into banners that we're going to hang here. And once that happens, we do have t-shirt, spirit shirt images that the students have created for each house. So we will have spirit shirts, but those will be on special occasions. You know, it's not something that we're going to be wearing daily, but we will have them.
As we go to the next question, someone asked if you can translate all answers into Spanish, please.
Vale, sí, pues.
So what is the
Desde ya, sí, podemos traducirlos.
what is the earliest the students may arrive at the school?
Vale. Okay. So, well, honestly, the earliest they can arrive is when you drop them off. The real question is, when will they be able to come into the building? And that's mostly cold on cold days. When it's really cold outside, we usually have someone come here a little bit early, 7:15 or so, to let them in and watch them. But generally, if the weather is not near or below freezing, the students have to stay outside. So we don't encourage, like any school, we don't encourage you to drop them off at 6:30 in the morning. Because that means they're going to be sitting outside for almost 2 hours. And even if the weather's nice, that's not a great solution. We generally open the door for the students to come inside the building about 8:10 or so, and we send them off to get lunch. La pregunta era que cuando es el tiempo más temprano, la hora más temprano para devolver, para asistir a la escuela. Y la verdad es que nosotros no recomendamos estar muy temprano. La verdad es, las puertas están abiertas más o menos a las 8, las días que cuando tenemos mucho frío afuera. Obviamente estamos mirando y vigilando un poco más temprano, 7:15, 7:30.
Will kids who are in GT in 5th grade roll over to middle school?
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
There you go. Los alumnos que tienen talented and gifted o que tienen clases de honores siguen en secundaria. Y la respuesta es claro que sí, siempre. Y la verdad es, los estudiantes en este momento, el distrito tiene una regla, una norma, que dice que los estudiantes que están approaching o que están successful on the STAR, vamos a ponerlos en clases de GT o clases de honores inmediatamente. Y ustedes como padres pueden sacarlos. Sorry, for the English folks, the rule right now in the district is actually if you meets or if you approach his meets, the meets or masters, I'm sorry, you're going to automatically probably be put in some of those honors classes. And then parents, of course, you have the option to take them out. But we would rather them go in there than have you take them, have you have to go through that process.
What transportation is available if I'm unable to pick them up?
Very good. We have buses, just like everybody else. So if you can't pick up your student at 5:15, Monday through Friday, they can ride the bus. We have no problem that way. Same on Friday when we get out at 4:15.
They just need to call transportation.
Yeah, it's just like always. It's just like right now. If if your child rides the bus, you call transportation. You go through that process. We have the same procedure in middle school and high school. La pregunta era que en qué tipos de transportación tenemos en middle school. Y la verdad es el transporte distrito es exactamente lo mismo que tenemos en primaria. Con nuestra hora extra, obviamente tenemos que cambiar las rutas un poco, pero tenemos todas las opciones de buses y todo para ustedes.
And we had someone who just wanted to call out Ms. Gonzalez about how wonderful she is.
Well, I agree.
Yes?
Yes, I agree.
Gonzalez is great.
We have one of the top communities and schools partnership at our campus, so I'd like to give a shout out to Ms. Gonzalez as well.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's kind of another thing for any incoming 6th graders. If you're ever in need of any supplies, you can always
good.
come, like clothing supplies, anything that you might need, like if you need help getting into a food pantry, something like that. We have access through our communities in schools and through our counseling center. So always come and if you need assistance, come let somebody know so that we can get that for you.
And parents, just like we said, we provide the vests and the jackets. We'll actually also provide all of our students backpacks, all of their school supplies at the beginning of the year. You know that we're going to give them a Chromebook, but we feel like as a campus that those are things that shouldn't be a barrier for students. So we supply all of those. So you come to Bowie, you don't have to buy any school supplies. We'll take care of all of that for you on day one, and when you run out, we'll give you some more. There's no problem. Padres, obviamente no queremos poner barreras para su estudiante y su aprendizaje. Y por eso, cada alumno de BUI tiene una mochila, todos los supplies, hojas de papel, lápices, plumas, todo. Vamos a comprar y tener dispuesto a todas estas cosas para sus estudiantes. Nadie tiene que comprar nada de estas cosas, solo el uniforme y pues nada más. You just have to buy the uniform.
Okay, let me put all three of these together because they're alike.
Okay?
As far as uniform pants, is it the same color every day as well as the shirts?
Yep.
Yes.
Then what color shirt will the 6th graders wear next year? And ¿qué color van a usar los del 8 grado?
Vale, los del 8, porque ahora están en grado séptimo, ellos van a continuar con camisas azules. Entonces, el año que viene, los alumnos de grado 8 van a tener camisas azules. Los de grado 7 van a llevarlos en camisas oh good lord, purple. No.
Morado.
Púrpura, pero no es
Morado.
yeah, there you go. Y los de grado 6 van a llevar gris. Gris, lo siento. En algunos momentos las palabras no me faltan. So the answer is yes, every day it is the same shirt, the same pants, the same shoes. And yes, the 8th graders next year will be wearing light blue, same as their 7th graders. And the 6th graders will be wearing gray, like our 8th graders are this year. So again, it just rotates. That way, parents, you don't have to keep buying a uniform every year.
What COVID protocols do you have to keep our kids safe?
This is a good one. And we're not particularly modeling it right now, but I promise you everybody's got their masks and we're wearing them all the time. We've limited access to the building. We have air filtration systems in every single classroom, office, gathering space. We have the COVID cleaning protocols that we've had in place for like the last year and a half, where the spaces regularly by our janitorial staff are cleaned. Obviously, we encourage all of our students and staff to wear masks. We're not allowed to regulate that by law, but we do encourage. That includes signage. We have hand sanitizer dispensers in just about every corner of the building. I mean, if you look back here, there are 2 right here. All you have to do is walk by and stab it with your foot, and it'll give you a big old squirt of sanitizer gel. They are everywhere. Let's see, what other protocols do we have? I mean, we encourage social distancing as much as we can in the classrooms. And yeah, we're doing pretty much everything we can. Obviously, we would encourage you and your students to wear masks. We do all day long. Again, I mean, we've taken them off because you can't really hear us with masks on, right? We've all had that problem. Take your mask off, I can't hear you. But most of us, we wear them all day long. It's just, it's just become part of life. This is a good question. Okay, well, I'm gonna fill time for just another minute or so, and if we have any other questions, just pop them in. Last year we went through a big change at Bowie. The expectations have changed, the support has changed. Someone called out CIS. I mean, it's not just CIS. We have counseling, we have crisis counselors, we have CIS, we have other community partners. We have a restorative justice discipline program. We have a house system where all of our students and staff compete for points and prizes. We give those out every week. So we have really worked on not just making the school more academic, but also making the school more welcoming. Middle school is hard. There's no other way to put it, right? Everybody is changing. All of your friends are growing and becoming different people, and maybe they're your friends today, and maybe they're not your friends tomorrow. Those are things that we all remember. We remember them differently, even though we probably had the exact same problems. We all remember, I don't remember having, I don't remember girls not getting along, or I don't remember boys. It was that way. It was. COVID, obviously, parents, as we all know, is making it worse. Which has prompted us as a school and as a school district to really put some additional supports in place. I mean, we as a school started from day one with social and emotional learning. We do it every day. If you ever have a chance to listen to some of those discussions that kids have, or have those discussions with your child yourself, it's pretty impressive to see 6th graders empathizing with someone they've never met, that they saw on a video. But yeah, middle school is, everybody's a little awkward, and and parents, I have to say, it's probably going to be harder for you than it is for your kids. Because you're really used to being super involved, and you're really used to, your kids doing what you say. And all that's about to change. I'm so sorry if I've just ruined your children for you, but I can promise you next year they're not going to want to do what you tell them to.
No, it's all about accountability in middle school. Like, they've got to be accountable for their backpacks and their homework and getting themselves to classes. So it's no longer the expectations of the parents doing it. It's now the expectations of the middle schoolers being responsible, giving themselves where they need to be. And they can do it. It just takes some time.
Sure, and we give them those skills. We teach them how to do that. And they're going to mess up. I mean, we all do, right? They're also going to say that someone stole their backpack and their cell phone and their Chromebook, and I can promise you, no one stole it. They left it somewhere and they lost it. Because 90 times out of 100, we find it somewhere
It'll show
later.
a few days to a week later, it shows up.
But I'm sure you already know that. You have fifth graders, and they've already started that journey. So, do we have any other questions?
What do we do to keep students safe from bullies?
It's a good question. It's part of the reason that we have social and emotional learning. We also have several groups of people that try to pay attention. This is a really hard question to answer, especially in the time of COVID, parents, because a lot of kids, including your kids, spent a lot of time at home. And some of them, maybe not yours, but some of them forgot how to interact with people. And sometimes that means that they don't respond the right way. I mean, we all know that, middle school is, like we said, a little bit weird and everybody's changing and, but COVID has made that more difficult. And so what that means in terms of bullying is the reality for us, in education now is there is more bullying, but there's also more misperception about bullying, right? So if I'm sitting at the lunchroom and I see Taylor look at me, and I don't like the way she's looked at me, I might come home and tell you that, Taylor was bullying me. Taylor probably wasn't even looking at me, and she may not even, know that was happening, but what we try to do with situations like that is we try to teach kids with through social and emotional learning, how to talk to each other, how to interact. The real incidences of bullying, I can promise you, all you have to do is come and tell someone. Doesn't have to be us, be anyone, and truthfully, again, in middle school, it is a learning process. Sometimes we're gonna help you understand that what you're talking about isn't exactly bullying. Maybe it's something else, right? But if it's actual bullying, we're going to address it. The first thing we have a process. The district has a full process. The first thing we're going to do is try to handle it, through sort of a conversation and counseling, right? Obviously, if we're talking about physical bullying, that's a much easier thing to identify and much easier to pay attention to. Psychological isolation, those sorts of things are a little bit harder. But you as parents and you as students, you have to come and tell us. Because one thing that may happen if you don't tell someone, right, is someone might not notice it. And that's not because we're not watching. It's not because we don't care. It's because there's 70 of us and 900 to 1,000 of you. So as you can imagine, it means that we have to have good communication between students and parents and staff. And I can promise you that if your child is being bullied at school and you tell us, we'll make it stop.
And that's the simplest thing.
Yeah.
It is, as long as we know we can help. If we don't know, we cannot help.
Yeah, I mean, if you show up in January and say, this is happening since August, I mean, obviously we're immediately gonna go into action, but at that point, we're starting from zero and it's been going on. So that's the most important thing is to communicate.
So we are going to try to have an in-person open
Sure,
house
in April.
Hopefully by then, things will settle down a little bit. And so we are going to attempt to have an in-person open house for any incoming sixth graders or incoming seventh graders.
Sure.
Who may be coming from Cameron or Austin. And, if between now and then, if you think of more questions, hopefully we'll be able to answer those
Yeah,
then, or
absolutely.
you're welcome to email any of us if you have any questions.
Absolutely. Of course, like your school, we've got someone who answers the phone. We've got 4 people who answer the phone. We only have 2 phone lines though, so if the phone rings, I promise you someone's on the other line. Just call us right back. But you can call, you can stop by, you can send an email, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have. I think we have time for maybe one more question. Are there any other questions?
There's actually several more questions now.
Okay, well, let's see if we can get through a couple of them.
One is, will students be allowed to have lockers?
So we don't do lockers, and nobody does lockers anymore, if I'm being honest with you. So no, you know, we give a
Only
backpack.
athletics.
Yeah.
Only athletics will have
Touche, and that's in the locker room,
Yeah.
right? They got a room named for lockers, so they get lockers, but the rest of us, we just carry our stuff around, me included.
Okay, these two are tied together.
Okay?
My son's jacket was stolen today. Where can I get him another, since they can only wear those jackets with the school logo? And the other one says, if our student doesn't have a jacket with a school logo, can you provide one?
Okay, if your student didn't get a jacket, absolutely. If your student lost it, we can try to help them find it.
We have a collection.
We have a collection.
We do. Again, I know they came home and they told you that they stole it, that it was stolen. I can promise you, probably wasn't, because there's a closet here that has at least 100 of them in there. That would be my recommendation. Have them come and see us so we can find it. Obviously, you know, put your name in it. That's important because it is the same. You know, they all do look the same. It's true. But odds are it wasn't stolen. We can replace it. And if you didn't get one, of course, you know, if you weren't here when we handed them out, you know, you joined us after that, or you weren't here that day, and this is the first we're hearing of it, just stop by the office and we'll help you out.
Last one's from a student.
Okay.
Wants to know why they can't use the vending machines in the cafeteria.
There are no vending machines in the cafeteria. So,
She's posted it twice.
I mean, there's a vending machine in this faculty lounge, but that's something I provide for them so that, you know.
I've never seen a vending machine in the cafeteria.
Yeah, no, and in fact, just so you know, I mean, it's still illegal to have vending machines in the cafeterias, which is why they don't have them. So yeah, so I'm sorry if someone told you we had vending machines, we don't. We will next week, right over here.
Yes, we will.
The book vending machine, and that will be, we're super excited about it. We've been waiting a long time for it. That will be something, of course you can buy books out of there if you want, but we're actually going to be giving those away for students that go above and beyond. So yeah, parents will be planning your kids with books here before too long. All right, parents, we really appreciate your time. Again, we're here to help. So if you have questions, please you know, let us know. At this point, we'll say we look forward to seeing everybody. Some of you will see Miss Roy next week, and we are really excited about the year to come. So welcome to the class of, it's 2029, isn't it? Yeah,
Yes.
class of 2029. Welcome to middle school.